got 3 words for you. You like that?
Deshaun Watson officially has requested a trade from the Houston Texans, Greeny. As it turns out, he did this days ago. So it is official now. Deshaun Watson will want out of Houston. The head coaching hire of David Culley makes no difference. It does not change his feelings one bit. Deshaun Watson has requested a trade from the Houston Texans. This now vaults to the top of the offseason storylines. We will wait to see where Deshaun Watson goes this offseason.
Reckless speculation.
Oh, Shefty bomb. A Shefty bomb.
Once again, the NFL offseason about to be better than the season.
Oh my God. I love it. Like the NFL and the NBA have just mastered the 2 or 3 month speculative offseason. And just like baseball has mastered it. It's been great. Oh, wait. Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah,
never mind about baseball.
Mike Trout, my sources tell me, will be going to Mexico for a vacation.
I feel like Mike Trout just like locks himself in a hyperbaric chamber for 4 months and then goes back to playing late night games on the West Coast. So this is Purple Daily. Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, Declan Goff, daily Vikings entertainment on Apple, Spotify, ScoreNorth.com, and the Score North app, and on our YouTube channel, Purple Daily. And we're going to sort of combine a couple things. On Mackey and Judd, our other show every Thursday, it's Reckless Speculation Thursday, and Judd threw out a trade proposal, hypothetically, to land Deshaun Watson. So what we're going to do here on today's episode is we're going to combine our How to Fix the Vikings series with Reckless Speculation Thursday a little bit, because everything we're going to do is very speculative here. And the major distinction for today's show, because a couple weeks ago we did a 5-step plan for fixing the Vikings in 2021. Like if their goal is to be as good as possible in 2021, what are the things that they need to do? We both threw out plans. Declan sort of picked elements from both and graded us. So we're going to do the same thing today, but instead of for 2021, the goal is to make the Vikings a Super Bowl contender for the window of 2023 through 2025. So the premise here is, if we don't necessarily think it's realistic to say that they're just going to jump in and win a Super Bowl next year. Like, there's just too many things to fix. So we're going to give you, we are ownership, and we are going to give you a 2-year runway to build a Super Bowl contender for 2023, 24, and 25. 5-step plan to make that happen. We'll start with Judd Zulgad, then I'll go, and then Declan will tell us which elements
which parts he likes. So I'm going with, when we did this for the immediate future, 2021, a couple weeks ago, I think I went almost exclusively, if not exclusively with on the field stuff, like fix your cornerbacks, fix the guards.
Actually, all 5 of mine were just the 5 offensive line positions.
Yeah. Left tackle, left guard. So I am going to go some on the field, but some off as well, because to me, this part of the exercise is more of a big picture approach than it is just positionally or certain spots. Now, I will hit on some positions. I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. Number 5. And this might sound weird, but number 5 on my list is draft philosophy. Okay. Last year you had what? I believe an NFL record, was it 15 or 17 draft picks? I think it was 15. But anyway, it was an incredible amount of draft picks. And part of it was the philosophy of, hey, we're picking here in the 3rd round, but let's trade back and get 2 4th rounders and a 7th round pick, because Rick loves 7th round picks. And I'm calling this quality over quantity. Okay. And it's not, and I realize the draft by its nature is a crapshoot, but think about the amount of times now that Spielman does trade back when he is sitting on a potential player that he could pick who might be pretty good, because he wants 3 more picks instead of taking that player. Okay.
Yeah.
So
he loves quantity.
So the draft, I've got 2 things here. Draft philosophy. It should not be the default to trade back to get more draft picks. Take the best player available where you're drafting, unless you absolutely think that there's garbage right there. Okay. And the second thing is, we are done with taking kickers, punters, and long snappers. All right. You can sign those guys. You can find those guys. And this notion that, we're going to get really cute and take a guy with a big leg who we're going to present to a coach who absolutely hates young specialists is incredibly stupid. So your draft philosophy is my 5th one of things that to win a Super Bowl in, let's say, 3 years, needs to change.
No.
My fourth one is immediate, but it's incredibly important because it affects the long term. You need to have your head around and resolve the Danielle Hunter situation as soon as possible. And here's why. If
a lot of people don't think it's a situation,
but it's going to be, right? Because he is going to come to them and say, I'm coming off a neck problem. The last time I played was an outstanding player. I want to be one of the highest paid pass rushing ends in the National Football League, which is akin to very good quarterback money. Right now, he is a ridiculous 18th. That is stupid. So if you go to over the cap right now and look, Danielle Hunter is the 18th highest paid pass rushing end in the league. That's criminal. But where this is incredibly important to me is if you can get him locked up to a fair contract long term and he can come back from the neck problem, there is no reason why in 2 or 3 years he can't be an absolutely crucial part to you potentially winning a Super Bowl. If he says, I have to be number one on that list, and you say we can't do that, there is absolutely no reason why I shouldn't be able to work out a trade that puts me in a position to get some very key draft pick pieces that, again, could help me. So this needs to be, in my opinion, resolved because either way, it plays an enormous potential role, Phil, in the foundation of your future.
So I will withhold some comments on this because I also have something regarding Danielle Hunter in my blueprint. But I just want to say, I think the Vikings should be really careful about just like bristling immediately at paying him more money. If they deem him to be healthy and they deem him to have 5 years of pass rushing prime left, we're talking about a Hall of Fame caliber pass rusher that you're going to need to win a Super Bowl. So I would be careful just being like, oh, the guy wants more money. Oh, like he's the type of guy you pay. I'm just saying.
Is that how the conversation goes?
It's like Indiana Jones. The face is melting once they finally open up.
I love how it's like, oh, Danielle Hunter wants more money, but here's another $14 million for Anthony Barr. Like,
yeah. But anyway, resolve it. All right.
Okay.
So pick your path when it comes to Danielle Hunter and its future.
Sure.
Number 3 on my list is, again, shifts back. It's a positional, but shifts to philosophy, your philosophical approach. Because in my opinion, one of the shortcomings of the Spielman regime, and where Childress actually sort of got it right and Rick does not, offensive line hole. All right. Number 1, who is going to replace Riley Reef? Because he is going to be gone soon, if not in 2021. He's going to be gone in 2022. But that is your left tackle, your blindside protector of your QB. And then as part of my offensive line summit, so I'm calling a summit, we're going to talk about offensive line play and its importance for one straight week. You need to set standards on guards. I feel like guards in the Vikings' mind are relief pitchers in baseball circa 1976. Hey, you're a failed starter, son, but you should go to the bullpen. You should go smoke some cigarettes in the bullpen, and we'll call you in the 6th, and then we'll have you throw your arm out, okay? Like, think about how the difference in bullpen usage has shifted now to like it's very important pieces to the puzzle. Yeah. Well, guards are too.
But the best teams in baseball don't like spend first round picks on relievers. They develop those guys.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes. My summit is how do we get there without just going basically wild and saying we got to take first round guards? How do we get there? 1 week, day and night summit on offensive line play. My second one, not going to surprise you, and I'm sure it's on your list as well, is the quarterback. And this is why the Deshaun Watson thing is so intriguing, because this solves your problem for how long? A long time. Mm-hmm. This solves a problem that's been a problem in this town, if we are being honest and rip the Band-Aid off, that goes back to the day in 1978 that Fran Tarkington walked away, okay? We're talking about the most important position in sports, and we're talking about a franchise that has taken some shots but has never succeeded in a long-term resolution. The quarterback, it has become more important, not less important, to have this position solved. It needs to be solved. It's high time. And I don't care if Spielman and Zim do it. I don't care who does it. Bieniemy, that's fine too. But it needs to be resolved, because you can't watch the elite quarterbacks in this league and think to yourself, yeah, but I can win a Super. I can get by. Like, don't give me this. Dilfer, remember Dilfer and Brad Johnson? No, don't give me that crap, okay?
I hate that's like my biggest
Solve
pet peeve
the
is
problem.
Like, well, I mean, the Ravens won with Joe Flacco. Well, one, he was on a rookie deal, so they could use the rest of their money to build a monster roster. But like, two, that happens like once every. So the last 20 years, there's a Brad Johnson, there's a Joe Flacco, and there's a Trent Dilfer. Two of them had all-time defenses. Like, it's not the blueprint to be putting all your eggs in.
Yep.
Let's just put it that way.
So that's 2, and then 2 and 1 on my list of how to solve the Vikings' problems and make them a Super Bowl team long term. 2 and 1 are going to tie together directly because 1 is the GM and coach and who runs this team. And very importantly, what their philosophy is when it comes to football. Are they defense first? Do they say, I have my defensive guys will be really good? And I say, yeah, you might be really good, but that's a long shot, okay? I need people that understand offense. I need people that don't say, you know what I'd like to do today? And I say, what's that, Mike? And he says, I'd like to run the ball all day long. Okay, that doesn't work. So 1 and 2 are obvious, and they're incredibly important. And that is, how are you going to solve GM, coach, and by extension, quarterback? And right now, I think Spielman into Zim into Cousins doesn't work. That doesn't mean that all 3 are a disaster, but it does mean I think you need to be probably on a different path, at least somewhere.
All right. So those are Judd's 5 moves or 5 themes to fix the Vikings for a Super Bowl window run 2023 through 2025. My list is actually like, I took a more specific approach to this. I like that you went with themes.
Good.
Because those themes are important. But I took a more specific approach.
Love it.
And the number 1 thing on my list, which we'll get to in just a second, is a very aggressive, specific thing that involves the quarterback position. But before we get there, Declan, tell the audience what your favorite carbonated beverage is.
Oh, it's Corona Hard Seltzer. And after reading those or hearing those 5 ideas from Judd, I need to spew on some Corona Hard Seltzer to figure out which ones I like the most here.
We need a Brian Baldinger review for like Declan's Corona Hard Seltzer ventures on the weekend.
When you get a freebie, you can't miss.
You get a freebie Blackberry Lime.
I feel like
when you get a freebie, you can't miss.
Can't do it.
I feel, Dex, like you're almost obligated to crush the cans.
I have to. I crush more
like
my
Baldy
skull.
would crush the cans.
Yeah, I do the Stone Cold.
No, do the remember the Sandman from ECW?
Oh yeah, I remember Sandman.
He would crush him against his head like until his forehead bled.
Yeah, that was me in first 5 weeks of the season watching Kirk Cousins. So I know that very, very well. Corona Hard Seltzer is the only hard seltzer with pure beach vibes, with a refreshing splash of fruit flavors such as tropical lime, mango, cherry, and blackberry lime. Corona Hard Seltzer is a tasty spiked sparkling water with a splash of natural fruit flavor that allows you to enjoy the moment. In each can, Corona Hard Seltzer has 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 90 calories, and is gluten-free. Relax responsibly. Corona Hard Seltzer spiked sparkling water with natural flavors, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
All right, boys, buckle up, because I'm starting with number 1 and working my way to 5.
Okay.
All right. I'm not even going to make you wait for it. These are 5 moves to turn the Vikings into a Super Bowl contender between 2023 and 2025. So I'm not saying they're going to have to be a train wreck for 2 years, but what we're going to go through a period of transition here. Okay. And we're going to be okay with it.
Peaceful transition or not peaceful transition?
It's up to them. It's up to the Wilfs. It's up to Rick. All right.
Yeah.
Number 1, we're going to break up with Kirk Cousins and trade for Deshaun Watson. I'll get to the Cousins part in just a second.
Oh, you're all in.
The number 1 thing I'm doing is trading for Deshaun Watson. These types of guys only come available when they're 38 years old.
Yep.
Tom Brady, Drew Brees finally became a free agent in the last couple free agency cycles, and Brett Favre. They don't. When I say these guys, I mean like top 5 bona fide dudes at the most important position in professional sports. You have a rare opportunity to land one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for potentially like the next decade, which the Vikings have been looking for a long, long time. My whole life, basically since Fran Tarkenton. Dante was there for a couple years. And to do this, and again, we'll talk about the Cousins thing in a second. I am trading my next 3 first-round picks, a 3rd-round pick this year, and my 2nd-round pick next year. So I'm trading 5 really good draft picks. And if they want more, we can have that discussion. But that's my starting conversations. I'm trading my next 3 first-round picks, a 3rd this year, and a 2nd next year. And you might be thinking, well, then what are you going to do? Like, so you're going to bring in Deshaun Watson. What are you going to do with the rest of the roster without those picks? And that's a great question, which brings me to item number 2 on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to trade over the next 2 years, preferably as soon as possible, just to expedite this process. Valuable veterans who won't be part of the 2023 to 25 window for winning a Super Bowl to get more draft capital to replenish the draft capital I just traded.
You're trading Dalvin Cook.
You're seeing why Phil Mackey is a 4-time fantasy baseball Roto League champion here. Okay. Always a step ahead of the competition. I want more first, second, and third round
trading
picks.
Paulie Goldschmidt, aren't you?
Paul Goldschmidt, gone. Sorry.
Nolan Arenado, gone.
So here's what's going to happen. Kirk Cousins, I'm trading him for anything because I have to just move his contract out. So if the 49ers want to give a 5th round pick, I go to the Niners and I say, listen, we're about to land Deshaun Watson. Sorry you didn't get him, okay? We know that you're in discussions with Matt Stafford. Whatever the Lions are asking for Matt Stafford, we'll ask for less for your guy, Kirk Cousins, Kyle Shanahan. Okay. So maybe it's only like a 4th round pick. Ideally, you would get a 2nd or a 3rd round pick or something, but maybe it's a 4th round pick. I'm moving him out. I'm also trading in the next 2 years because, again, the idea here is I just traded a ridiculous amount of draft capital for Deshaun Watson. I need draft capital back to build this thing up over the next 2 years. Adam Thielen will be 33 years old in 2023. I'm trading him to the Patriots or somebody like a wide receiver starved team. The Eagles.
Hey, you like white receivers, right?
He's Julian Edelman, but a little more athletic, I guess. The Eagles could use a wide receiver. There's other teams that could use weapons. The Dolphins could use a wide receiver. Somebody would give up like a 2nd round pick for an Adam Thielen, who is still in his prime. Eric Kendricks is going to be 31 years old when that window hits. I'm trading Eric Kendricks for a 2nd round pick. I'm sorry. The goal is 2023, and I've already traded for Deshaun Watson. And Harrison Smith, I don't know.
So you fired Mike. You've got fired Mike on your list. I can feel it in my bones.
Don't spoil
I can
us
feel
too
it in
much.
my bones. You're firing him.
No spoilers.
You heartless son of a.
No spoilers. Harrison Smith, I don't know if you can even trade him because he doesn't have any guaranteed money left. So like you're probably going to sign him to an extension, then trade him, which is kind of a bait and switch. But I'm looking to get more draft capital back because it's a logical question. You can't trade all those picks for Deshaun Watson and then fill all the rest of the holes. That's why you got to get more picks back. Okay. And I would even consider trading Dalvin Cook. And I know that this is going to hurt you offensively for the next couple of years, but break up with Cousins, trade for Watson, replenish the draft capital. Those are my first 2 moves, okay? Move number 3. I use the draft capital that I have left over the next couple of years, and I'm hoping that I restock those cupboards. I'm using that draft capital in this order of priority. Offensive line, and I probably need 2 to 3 spots solidified. I'm going to have some free agency money too because I'm getting rid of some contracts here. I probably say goodbye to Barr. I feel good about Brian O'Neill and Ezra Cleveland going forward. I'm very wishy-washy on Garrett Bradbury, and then the other 2 spots are wide open long-term because Riley Reef is in his 30s. So I'm using draft capital in order of priority on offensive line, pass rush, and another dynamic pass-catching weapon, either another wide receiver or a tight end. All right? Item number 4, I am replacing Mike Zimmer with an offensive-minded head coach.
Yeah.
So Eric Bieniemy or a Brian, is it pronounced Brian Dable or DeBole? Brian, offensive coordinator for the Bills.
Yeah.
He's also part of the Belichick tree, which makes me a little bit nervous. But people in Buffalo seem to rave about him.
Yep.
And he had a couple 1-year stints as offensive coordinator in Miami when they were a disaster, in Cleveland for a minute.
But you're getting an offensive-minded guy.
Yeah, and you're gonna.
I hear you.
And there's no guarantee. Like you might whiff on this coach, but these are the chances that we're going to have to take around here if we want this team to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
The goal is to maximize Deshaun Watson, maximize offense in a league that you got to score 30 points to win these games, and the Vikings do right now. But I need a guy who can avoid
modern
pressure up the middle. Okay, so. And the 5th thing is I make sure Danielle Hunter is happy, healthy, and under contract, even if it means paying him more money, because you're going to need a great pass rush to win a Super Bowl in 2023, 24, 25. And Danielle Hunter will still be in his pass rushing prime when that window hits. And so I know that giving him a new contract now seems impossible because you're just like pressed up against the cap. You're in salary cap hell. But we're talking about over the next 2 years, organizing the house here. And I'm okay paying a top 5 quarterback, and I'm okay paying the best pass rusher in the NFL, and then figuring out. I don't need to pay a safety $10 million anymore. Sorry, Zim. I don't need to pay a linebacker $14 million anymore, Anthony Barr. Like, that's not how we're going to operate anymore in the next 2 years if I'm running the show.
Or a running back.
Or a running back, $12 million. Like, I'll pay a pass rusher, I'll pay a quarterback, and then I'd rather go cheap on some of those other positions. So sign Deshaun Watson, replenish draft capital by trading veterans who won't be relevant in 2023 for your team. Use the draft capital that you have left to focus on offensive line, pass rush, and a dynamic pass-catching weapon to pair with Justin Jefferson. Replace Mike Zimmer with a more offensive-minded modern coach, and make sure Danielle Hunter is happy.
And your trade again.
Hire me now.
And your trade again with the Texans was 3 first-round picks?
3 first-round picks, a third this year, and a second next year, and open to talk more.
Okay.
Open to talk more.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right, Declan, what'd you think?
All right, Law and Order here. From 5 to 1 of your guys' list, I'm going to go with offensive line philosophy. So Judd's idea of offensive line philosophy.
This is 5 to 1.
5 to 1
Okay.
from being the most, from the least
So
to the
my
most important
summit.
one. Yeah. Your offensive line philosophy summit to fix whatever the problem is with drafting these guys. I do think you can, good quarterbacks, the best quarterbacks, make up for those deficiencies if you're going to find the elite quarterback, but I think it's number 5 on this list.
Okay.
Number 4 would be resolve the Danielle Hunter situation. He's criminally underpaid. He is obviously unhappy. He's coming off major neck surgery. You have to figure out either if you want to pay this guy or trade him for the valuable assets. So that is number 4 on this list. Number 3, I do like Phil's idea of trading those valuable veterans for the draft capital. You know, the NFL is not a league where we see in-season trades. It's the most boring of the trade deadlines of the 4 major sports. But that doesn't mean in the offseason you can't make the call and do something on draft day to trade those guys who are up there in age. I mean, we all love Adam Thielen, or every Minnesotan, I guess, loves Adam Thielen. But at the same time, you're going to have to move on from him at some point. And if you can get a 2nd or 3rd round pick when his value is hot, you got to strike then. Number 2 is break up with Kirk and trade for Deshaun Watson. If our overarching theme is find your franchise quarterback, find it, right? But that's easier said than done. You can't just find it. You can't just take dartboards and figure out if Christian Ponder's going to be it or if the BYU kid's going to be it. But we do know who Deshaun Watson is. So that's established.
Yes.
Like that is your franchise quarterback right there. So break up with Kirk and trade for Deshaun.
And this is such a unique opportunity.
Exactly.
Like, it's just so unique.
And I know that a lot of people continue to say, well, wait a second. Aren't you guys all about, for winning a Super Bowl, you guys keep throwing out that 90% of Super Bowl winning teams have a quarterback on a rookie scale contract or a Hall of Famer. Well, Deshaun Watson's not on a rookie scale contract. And so do you think he's a Hall of Famer? Well, I mean, obviously he's not right now, but he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now. And he's on that path if he gets into the right infrastructure to knock on the door of being a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Like, he's closer to that quite a bit than Kirk Cousins is.
Yeah.
So I'm more comfortable paying
totally
him a lot of money.
Yep.
I mean, it's fun to go probably draft a quarterback and obviously it'd be great, but at the same time, it's still an unknown. Like Trevor Lawrence, even though he's probably the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, could be a bust. Like that is a possibility. I don't see Deshaun Watson falling off a cliff next season if he's on the Jets or the Texans. Like,
No.
I don't see that happening.
Agreed.
And then number 1, this pains me to say because I've always defended the guy, but it's replacing Mike Zimmer with an offensive-minded coach. At this point, I think your defense, the era of running an elite defense is over. You can have a great defense. That's fine. But honestly, it's situational defense. That's when you need your defense to come in high.
And his teams have, to his credit, his teams have also been great situationally over the years on 3rd down and red zone.
But you're right.
Packer fans rip Mike Pettin up and down, right? And rightfully so. But on 4th and 6, with 6 seconds left in the half, single high, that play changed the game, dude. It changed the game completely. You picked off Tom Brady 3 or 4 times. Everything was great with mostly what you did on defense. You made one humongous mistake, and it possibly cost you the game.
Yeah.
So it's not having an elite defense, and if you have one linchpin out, then everything collapses. So it's replacing Mike Zimmer with an offensive-minded coach. I think Mike Zimmer's still the best coach in my lifetime, but you got to find the Kingsbury, whoever the hell it is. That's your number 1. So 5 through 1 would be offensive line summit, Judd. Resolve Danielle Hunter ASAP.
Not that kind of summit.
Not that kind of summit.
Well, no, you could have summit at the summit.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, you're talking about Sorry,
Okay.
I derailed this.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay. Number 4, resolve Danielle Hunter ASAP. 3, trade your valuable veterans for draft capital. 2, break up with Kirk, trade for Deshaun. Number 1, replacing Mike Zimmer with an offensive-minded coach. We just fixed the Vikings long term.
Yeah.
Long term, yeah.
I got a nugget for you guys here, just in terms of philosophy. Maybe we can flesh this out on a future episode in terms of defense or offense. So I agree on the situational defense thing. That's very important. You want to make sure that you're stout in the red zone defensively and on third down. I don't care as much if you're allowing, like, if the lack of blue chip players on defense, because you've committed to putting those players on offense, prevents you from stopping teams at the 50-yard line, a 3 and out. They can gain yards. I'm fine with that. Offensively this year, the 4 teams that made it to the championship weekend were all in the top 5 offensively in points per game. Defensively, yards per play. I just pulled up yards per play here. So different metric, but the Buccaneers were 6th in yards per play allowed.
Mm-hmm.
They were not really anywhere near the Rams or a couple of these other teams defensively. So the Buccaneers had a really good defense. They were 6th in yards per play. The Bills were 15th. The Chiefs were 20th, and the Packers were 17th. So of the 4 teams left, the Buccaneers were top 6. The others were all 15th or worse in yards per play allowed defensively.
Yep.
And
because when you have
they're fine.
When you have an offense or quarterbacks that are fantastic, guess what?
Yeah.
You can get by.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really think some hard decisions. If you want to go from good to great in the Super Bowl, I'm not saying that they have to take all the things in these blueprints, but it would be smart to listen to us. You're going to have some tough, uncomfortable conversations about people and philosophy.
That's what I was going to say. I think that so the list that we put together 2 weeks back, I think was very much a GM coach discussion, and then, bring in your scouts. This one that we had today, to me, is one thing: ownership. Because these are things that I don't think that Rick and Mike are going to change about how they do things.
Yeah.
So I don't think that you can just tell Rick, okay, dude, you know what? This trading back thing has gotten really old. And I get that you get a lot of prospects that you like, but the reality is you're passing on good players now.
Bro, you had 15 rookies on your team last
year.
Yeah.
So I do think that today's episode of Purple Daily is focused on very difficult discussions that the people who own this team are going to or should have.
Yeah. So there it is. Make the call, Rick. Make the call. Make the call.
Or to us. We will also help you facilitate.
Deshaun Watson is available.
This is, let me pull up Adam Schefter, because Adam Schefter actually expanded on this on Twitter here.
Okay.
He doesn't know how to use Twitter threads, so there's got to be a social media person at that conglomerate that can help him. He just retweets the thing instead of putting a thread underneath. Just go find these.
Yeah, that's a Judd move.
Yeah, just
okay.
He's challenged. He's Twitter challenged. It's okay.
So
us old guys are Twitter challenged.
Deshaun Watson officially has requested a trade from the Texans. He actually did it weeks ago, and now it's just coming out. Deshaun Watson hasn't spoken to new Texans GM Nick Caserio nor executive Jack Easterby. Watson is moving on and waiting to see where his NFL future takes him. The new coaching hire, David Culley, has not and will not alter Watson's thinking. Here's Houston's leverage if used. They can fine Deshaun Watson almost $100,000 for missing minicamp. They can fine him $50,000 per day for each day of training camp missed, plus 1 week salary, $600,000 for each preseason game missed. If Deshaun Watson decides to retire, the Texans can collect $21.6 million from him.
They're going to have to trade him. They're going to have to trade him, and a top 5 quarterback in this league is available. Think about the opportunity. I'm not talking about, Matthew Stafford might be nice, right? Okay, he might be. I don't know. Deshaun Watson, a top. And the thing is, and he's smart to demand a trade right now, the Houston Texans, for comparison's sake, sadly, are the Wolves. And that's what he sees. This is, if and when Cat demands a trade, it's going to be the same type of thing.
I feel like there's a little bit more, if not a lot more, racist undertones.
No, but I'm just saying there's a directionless.
I know what you're saying.
Guys, they just hired a 65-year-old position coach. A 65, the oldest head coach ever hired. Why? To hold people's hands.
And they did it to placate Watson too, right?
Partially.
This reeks to me like, hey, we hired a black coach.
I like Les, but when you're down to 2 guys who are, one is 65 and Les is, look, he is a stabilizer for sure. you are doing it because your franchise is a mess. Like, you're not even dealing in football. You're dealing in, we have screwed this up relationship-wise with people beyond belief. That's why he wants out, and I think Watson's right. I'd get up. Come to Minnesota.
Rick, don't laugh, Rick. Make the call.
Come to Minnesota.
Make the call.
Yeah, Rick, you sit down and listen.
That's a wrap on today's episode. 5 long-term fixes for the Vikings to get back into Super Bowl contention. We'll see you guys tomorrow on Purple Daily.